Greetings, I'm Steve Van Arisdale, editor of The Reeler, and welcome back to ReelerTV. This week, we had one of the busiest weeks of the year at Reeler HQ, and that is precisely because of the New York Film Festival, which opens Friday night. And today on the show, we have Jason Schwartzman and Adrien Brody, co-stars of the Darjeeling Limited, which is the opening night film, and Lisa Rosman from Flavorpill will drop in to discuss some of her hot picks from this year's selections. First, the news, and we had a really interesting conversation with festival director Richard Pena the other day, who was telling us about the festival's relationship between Hollywood and distributed films that have drawn some fire from critics over the last few years. And he told us straight up, quote, "We have to look at a work, and if it's a work we truly love and want to stand behind, it shouldn't matter whether it's by Clint Eastwood or Adrien Sissako. If one has Warner Brothers behind it and the other has no distributor behind it, we'll work with both of them in whatever way we can to help the films reach the widest possible audience." That's fair enough. So you can read that entire interview, it's a really good one, on thereeler.com, along with other coverage of films by Abel Ferrara, Sidney Lumet, Julian Schnabel, and Ira Sachs. There's lots more. Please do check it out. In other news, we found out that Tony Scott, who has already attached to direct a remake of The Warriors, God forbid, is now going to take a hack at another New York City classic, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
These are the armies of the night.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
No, actually not really. Speaking of The Warriors, though, if you want to check it out at Coney Island where it was shot, the Coney Island Film Festival will screen it this weekend. Make sure you check out their website for more details and information. And as far as the Pelham 1, 2, 3 thing goes, Denzel Washington's playing the Walter Matthau role. We don't know who's playing the Robert Shaw subway hijacker role, but we're getting sick just thinking about the whole thing, so we're moving on. Christopher Zala's Padre Nuestra, the Sundance Grand Jury Prize winner from this year, is now in line for a 2008 release from IFC Films. Congratulations to Chris, and good luck to IFC with that. Finally, Harvey is back in the news. He pushed the Oscar contender, Grace is Gone, John Cusack, Best Actor, hopeful, from October to December. Got to save a little bit of money in the Oscar budget. Harvey knows what he's doing, okay? I mean, don't second guess him. People are talking about, oh, is this the end for Harvey? We all know it's not the end, okay? December is where it's at. Harvey, don't let anyone ever tell you to do anything wrong. I got your back, always. So what do you say we do an interview? We caught up with Jason Schwartzman and Adrien Brody, co-stars of Darjeeling Limited, which is Wes Anderson's new film about three estranged brothers bonding and battling on a train journey through India.
I want us to become brothers again like we used to be.
You're the two most important people in the world to me.
This is incredible! Why haven't we spoken in a year?
Because we don't trust each other.
Is that my belt? Can I borrow it?
You shot under some pretty exotic, challenging circumstances with everyone from Roman Polanski to Terrence Malick. How did shooting in India with Wes Anderson compare to those experiences?
Well, you know, I'm very fortunate that most of the films that I've gone on have been real adventures for me as well as the characters that I'm playing. You know, India is as exotic a place that you can go. I mean, it's a fascinating place, and the fact that we shot not only in India but on a moving train and, you know, basically on the road traveling throughout India really created something, I think, like a sense of truth to connect to for all of us that I don't think you would have been able to have if you were in a soundstage somewhere.
The stakes are a little higher for you this year in the sense that you're also the screenwriter in this film.
Yeah.
And I guess what part of the screenplay did you contribute, and how exactly did you work with Wes and Roman Coppola on developing this script?
Well, we wrote the whole script together over the course of about 18 months or so. The whole movie we wrote together. Basically, I was working on Marie Antoinette in Paris, and Wes had his Life Aquatic press tour ended in Paris, and it seemed like he wanted to stay there, so I told him that I had an extra room where I was staying if he wanted to stay with me. So he moved in with me and stayed there for about two months. And in those 2 months, we began writing this movie, concocting this movie. So every night after work, we would meet at the apartment or in like a, I know it sounds kind of like cheesy to say, but like in a coffee shop, and we would write it and talk about it. And over the next 2 years, it was a series of going back to Paris, writing with him there, and writing over the phone and conference calls. And then we went to India for 5 weeks to write it.
Was the time in Paris, is that part of the genesis also for Hotel Chevalier, the short film that precedes Darjeeling?
Yeah, it was. Hotel Chevalier came about after about 2 months, and it was a finished idea, and it was initially intended to just be that. I mean, it was like Wes said, I wrote the short, I want you, Natalie Portman, to be in it, and I want to make it now in Paris, and we should just go. So we did it like that.
So you have been checking out some of the films at this year's New York Film Festival. Tell us maybe one or two selections that you've seen that you think is just absolutely great.
Absolutely great. I'm shocked to say this, but I really like Darjeeling Limited, the new Wes Anderson. And I have basically not had patience for him since Rushmore. I think he's the greatest stylist in Hollywood, but typically his substance doesn't even live in the ballpark of his style. And I think this movie, I mean, it's not super substantive, but I do think that it gets somewhere emotionally. I think it's a more grown-up movie than he's made in a long time.
Now, you were a big fan of Ira Sachs' last film, 40 Shades of Blue. He returns with Married Life at the New York Film Festival, and what was your response to that film?
I was a little disappointed. I mean, I have to be honest that some of my disappointment was exacerbated by Sachs himself in the press conference afterward, who I thought was kind of full of himself. And this movie, it was like he was trying to solve 40 Shades of Blue with this film. I mean, it really just grazed the surface of everything, and it was very stylish, again, but it didn't really go anywhere, I thought. I didn't really care about any of the characters.
So there's another few weeks of press screenings, and the festival starts on Friday. What one film, if you had to choose, this is the only one I'm going to see the rest of the festival, what would it be?
I mean, I'm dying to see the new Cohen Brothers. Okay. You know, of course. I love them. Even when I don't love them, I love them. So I'm dying to see it, and I'm curious about it because I think it's an adaptation of I think it's the Cormac McCarthy novel. Yeah, so
Indeed.
We'll see. I mean, obviously, I'm always curious about Noah Baumbach's movies, but it's really because I revel in disliking him. I think he's emblematic of everything I hate about 30-something white indie filmmakers, so yay.
We shall agree to disagree on Noah Baumbach.
That's fine.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Lisa Rosman from Flavorpill. Remember, you can check out all of the New York Film Festival coverage on thereeler.com. Thanks very much to the Pioneer Theater for hosting this episode of Reeler TV. And until next week, I am St. Van Airstale, signing out.